Welcome to the Kenobi podcast. I'm Chris Kenobi. Obi, how are you doing, brother?
I felt a great disturbance in the force.
There has been a great disturbance in the force, ladies and gentlemen. That's why I want to talk to you tonight. Before I go into my rant, I want to say that I know from personal experience that life is very difficult. I know from personal experience that sometimes we just have enough for ourselves. I know from personal experience that sometimes all you can worry about is yourself and your life and your car and your job and your wallet and your ATM and your children and their futures, or your man or your boyfriend or your spouse or your fiance and your wedding. And I know that all those things are important things. And sometimes all we have enough inside of ourselves, because we give so much, is to look out for our own, is to care for our own. I get that, and I totally get that. Sometimes I feel like all I've got enough for is to look out for my own and to care about my little sphere of influence, my life, my kids, my future, my finances. All of those things are important things. My health, my body, my care, all those things. My longevity, my legacy. All those things are important things. And these are all the things that as we get older or we reach certain age milestones, we all find ourselves thinking about these things. What am I going to do with my life? Who's going to love me? Where am I going to be in 5 years from now? Where do I want to be in 5 years from now? Where do I want to be tomorrow? I get it. Who can you depend on? Who can I depend on? Who believes in me? Who won't believe in me? How am I going to get this car fixed? How am I going to pay for this medicine? It's the first of the month. How am I going to pay for my rent? What about my car note? Listen to me. I understand all that. I live that. Those are choices I make every single day. But sometimes you have to really understand that if we don't look outside of our sphere of influence, if we don't look outside of our little lives, in our block, in our house, in our cars, in our driveway, in our kids, in our money, in our bodies, in our futures, whatever's out there, one day is going to affect ours. Maybe we don't see it coming. Maybe we don't think it's going to happen today or tomorrow. But sooner or later, the wind blows and it hits everyone. And sooner or later, if we don't pay attention to the direction of the wind, we find ourselves getting swooped up and blown away by a storm that we never saw coming, but the signs were all there. That's why I'm here tonight, because there is a storm that's coming and the signs are all here. But I don't think that we're looking at this sign. I don't think that we're looking at the storm. I don't think that we feel the wind brush against our face. I don't think that we can feel the little pebbles of rain as it hits us and we say, wow, is it raining outside? Something is coming and it's serious, and something is coming and it's almost dystopian to our way of life. Our way of life has changed. Now, I'm fighting 77 million people that will tell me that life for them is good, but I doubt that now. Because life for 77 million of you, some of you, I believe that because of what's happened the past 6 months of our president's tenure has very well shaken your core as well. Maybe some of you feel like you have buyer's remorse. Maybe some of you have had friends or co-workers being taken out of this country and shipped away. People that you knew personally that weren't rapists or weren't murderers or weren't killers, but were decent people that just worked every day and knew you and knew who you were. But they're gone now. So I believe that may have affected you. But I know you still have to focus on yourself and focus on your life. But there is something happening, people, to our country. There's so much devastation that's happening across this country and across the world because of our country, because of the things that's happening in this country. It's affecting other lives. It's affecting other people. Ukraine is caring about theirs, but you know what? Because of what we're doing here, they're being affected. Because of what's happening here, the Sudan children, Gaza, kids are being affected. And I have to appeal to your sense of conscience. I want to appeal to every mother that has a child. I want to appeal to every father that has a child, to every uncle that has a niece or a nephew. I want to appeal to every grandparent that has a grandchild. I want to appeal to you on a human level, not on a political level. But I want to appeal to you on a human level, because when we get past all the politics, we're all human. When we get past all the black and white and all the race, we're all just human. And I want to appeal to you on a human level. And I don't know if you're aware of what's going on outside of your sphere of influence. I don't know if you're aware of what's going on outside of your house. I don't know if you're aware of what's going on outside of your state. But there's a storm coming. I'm trying to warn you. And I'm asking you, as on a human level, to listen to me. The big, beautiful bill was passed today. And some of you are celebrating that, and some people are saying that this is a good thing. I'm trying to understand how. I don't know if it's because you've heard so much media about this, or if you heard some of your favorite pundits tell you and just tell you the bill's beautiful and just tell you that this bill is okay. I don't know if you yourself have looked through the bill. It's there. It's on the website. It's on the internet. It has a table of contents. You can look at it and go to the pages and see what it says about these things. So I don't know if you do know that this big, beautiful bill is not beautiful. I don't know if you know that from firsthand experience, but I'm speaking to you on a human level. I'm not talking to you as someone that is a Republican or Democrat. I'm not talking to you as someone that cares whether you voted for Donald Trump or not. I am talking to you on a human level, someone that cares about your family and you care about your family. For your family, have you looked at this bill? It's too late now if you didn't, but I still encourage you to look at it. I have. I didn't believe the media. I wanted to see for myself. Just like I wanted to understand Project 2025 for myself, I read it. I did myself. I did my own homework. Why? Because I know that if I don't understand Project 2025, and if I only focus on my sphere, sooner or later, Project 2025 will come from me. It will come from my kids and their kids and their kids. So I wanted to see the storm coming, or I wanted to see if it wasn't a storm and if it was made up. It's not made up. I wanted to understand this big, beautiful bill for myself. I didn't want to listen to the news. I didn't want to listen to Fox. I didn't want to listen to MSNBC. I wanted to listen to this and this. And I looked at this big, beautiful bill. It's not beautiful. It is big. It's the biggest bill that has ever been passed in our legislative country. And one would think, being that it was a Republican bill, and Republicans are so staunch for fiscal responsibility, you would think that with all the cuts that this bill did, that our debt, our national debt, would be reduced over time because of this bill. It's quite simple. I don't like Rand Paul, but he said it. Listen, you know what? If you want to save money, you cut back on your expenses and you stop spending less, right? Isn't that what you said, Mr. Paul? Can I call you that? That's what Rand Paul said. He said you do it on a family basis, right? Okay, so I'm looking at this bill and just doing the math. I'm saying to myself, they made $1 trillion of cuts in entitlements. I read it. It's there. Medicaid, food stamps, These things are going to be cut. So I'm figuring right now, if we're cutting $1 trillion just on that stuff, if I'm a Republican and I'm into fiscal responsibility, then I'm going to say to myself, our deficit should be going down by $1 trillion. That's just simple math, right? And that's what Republicans believe in, fiscal responsibility. But let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. This bill adds $4 trillion of debt to our national debt. This Trumpian administration had already ran up the debt when he was number 5. Now it's up $4 trillion because of this bill. And let me tell you about this bill. Why? One would say, if we're cutting $1 trillion on Medicaid, and if we're going to make it work, make it count for something, right? If I'm going to throw 14 million people off of Medicaid and let them die, then it has to count for fiscal responsibility in the name of the Republican. In the name of a Republican, if I'm going to do something like that, I'm going to make it count. I'm going to be able to come back and say, you know what? 15 million people got off Medicaid, but for once in our life, our deficit is going down. One would say that. Then why is our deficit going up by $4 trillion? Do you know where that $4 trillion goes? It goes to the rich and powerful. It goes to the rich and powerful. It goes to people that don't need it. It's providing tax benefits for billionaires. It's the truth. This is not Bernie Sanders or AOC saying this stuff. It's right there inside of this bill. Jeff Bezos, Amazon, $50 million wedding in Venice. All the rich people were there. All of those rich people that were there, they're going to benefit from this big, beautiful bill. While the little people like us, like your grandmother, your auntie, your little nephew, your sister's kid with the heart defect, those people are in danger of dying. So those rich people can get more and more and more. And that's the truth. That's what's happening in this bill. Rich people are going to get richer and poor people are going to die. That's the truth. That is not somebody just ranting to you. This is not someone that is just trying to get you to stay on to watch me. This is someone that's telling you to do the math yourself because you're being lied to. And that's the dystopian part here. That's the part that you don't understand. That's the part that you don't see. And I want you to see this because it's quite important. What's happening here? What's happening here is this president is one of the most powerful men in our modern day history. He's learned how to work this administration this time. He knows what it is to wield power, and he does it well. He knows what it's like to break people and break spirits and break souls in half. He knows what it's like to put pressure on people. He knows what it's like to make someone so fearful of him that they're just about willing to do anything. And that's the dystopian part of this. When you have a stacked Department of Justice, when you have a stacked State Department, stacked everywhere with people that are willing to do whatever you want them to do, no matter how disgusting it is, you do wield power. And it's no wonder people are afraid. It's no wonder people are afraid because they don't know what he can do. He can literally destroy lives. He is the most powerful man in the world. And that's a fact. But I'm telling you the truth. With all of that power that he wields right now, and all of that power that he's using for all of the rich people that put him into office. What has he done for you? And that is the question. Since he has taken office, 401ks have dropped. The economy has dropped. Our GDP is up. It's a mess. The price of food is going up. He's saying gas is $1.98. It's not the truth. Gas is over $3. What has he done for you but lie to you and tell you how great this country is going to get because of this bill? But I tell you the truth, you're dealing with someone that does not care about you. Doesn't care. And turn me off. I don't hate Donald Trump. I'm indifferent to Donald Trump. I don't love Donald Trump. I don't hate Donald Trump. Donald Trump is just Donald Trump. But what is happening is that he has put a spell over half of this country. And he is controlling this country. And he is controlling the very little way, the way that we live. Our way of life is being controlled by a man that knows that people are going to die. This is the thing. Presidents make decisions all the time. And they're hard decisions. And they wrestle, if they're half of what they said they were worth in terms of caring for the country, then there are presidents, good and bad, Republican and Democrat, that have sleepless nights over the decisions that they make because they understand their power and they understand people are going to die. This man is cutting 14 million people off of Medicaid. He knows people are going to die. This man is cutting people off of food stamps. Now, I don't know if any of you know what it's like to be hungry. I don't know if any of you know what it's like to not have food. I don't know if any of you know what it's like to only eat chicken parts because you can't afford chicken meat. I don't know if you know what it's like to only eat potatoes. I don't know if you know what it's like to really eat government cheese and not say it as a joke. I don't know if you know what it's like to wake up in the morning and the first thing you think about is what you're going to eat because you went to sleep hungry. I don't know if you know what it's like to see people that you care about denied this health care that would save their lives, the same health care that rich people are enjoying, that's saving their families, but your family is dying because they just can't afford the same coverage. I don't know if you know what that's like. I don't know if you ever felt that before. I don't know if you know what it's like to see people that you care about or people that you don't even know go to jail for crimes that rich people and powerful people, black and white, walk away from just because they can afford better legal care. I don't know if you know what that injustice is like. I don't know if you understand what it's like to be denied to going into a school because of your color, or not being able to afford the college your kid wants to go to. You can't afford to send them there. But yet and still other parents and other people can. I don't know if you know what's that's like. I don't know if you know what it's like to have to depend on food stamps. I don't know if you know what it's like to have to depend on welfare. I don't know if you know what it's like to know that if those services weren't there, you may not be here. I don't know if you know anyone that needs those services. I don't know if you know anyone that's on food stamps or Medicaid. I don't know if you know an old person that right now is in a nursing home. Well, if you do, you should be scared because they may be kicked out. I don't know if you understand what's going on in our country. But when rich people continue to get richer and richer, Do not kid yourself to think that somehow this is going to create some trickle-down economics where sooner or later we'll get the crumbs from Elon Musk and the crumbs from Jeff Bezos, the crumbs from a $50 million wedding. The food that he must have thrown out. How many people could have been fed? It doesn't exist. There's no trickle down. Rich people don't share wealth. That's why they're rich and they want more. They're not into sharing. Yes, you have a few that are great and they'll share it. But by and by, they hoard power. This is not about you. This bill was not about you. And every Republican sold us out. I don't care if I'm not a Republican. If I'm in your state, you sold me out. If I'm in your state and you're a Republican, you sold me out. It doesn't matter if I'm a Democrat or Republican or independent. If you're a member of the Freedom Caucus and you're in my state, you sold me out. You sold someone out. And you know why they sold you out? People sell you out because they think it will never come to their door. The revolution will never reach my door. It won't come to our shores. And yeah, maybe one of their daughters will say, you know, Daddy, so-and-so at school died because they didn't have Medicare. And they'll look and pat their kid on the head and say, I'm sorry, honey. But they really believe that it'll never come to them until it comes, until something else comes. And then they feel it. When it comes for you, when it comes at your door, then you feel it. When the monster knocks on your door, then finally you're in awe and shocked and you say to yourself, I thought it would never happen to us. How many people do I see on TV now, on YouTube, bloggers, people that voted saying, I never thought he would do it to me. Injustice. I never thought they would do it to me. Why? Because you were so focused on your own sphere that you really didn't see the fine print that said anybody can get it. It doesn't matter. We're all disposable. We're all disposable to those people of power. The only thing I'm good enough for Target is to walk in their store and give them my money. But they don't care about the color of my skin, and they don't care about me getting ahead. The only thing that I'm good for Jeff Bezos is to order stuff on Amazon. You can see how he treats his own people. Do you really think that him getting richer off of tax breaks is going to somehow trickle down to those people working at Amazon? Or you and me? It won't. I've heard so many stories watching the news from people that are terrified about what this is going to do to them and how this is going to affect their lives. And it's not just in America. It's power. It's Ukraine. And you say to ourselves, we don't care about Ukraine anymore because we never think the war will come to our doors again. But one day it might. One day it might. What's happened to us that we don't care about anyone anymore? What's happened to us that we don't care about our fellow man anymore? I heard Mike Johnson talking about how this country was founded and the founding fathers cared about Christ and religion and this great experiment. They wanted to break away from kings. I don't understand why is it when 20, 30 years ago, you did know who our neighbors were. We did know. We could go to bed and leave our doors open at night. We were able to know that, you know what, if someone needed a ride, we can give them a ride. I can trust that person in my car. I can trust this family with my kids. I can trust them doing this or doing that. What's happened to that? What's happened to the basic human nature? The basic morality that we all share, the commonality of just being human. Not Democrat, not Republican, not Freedom Caucus, not independent, just being human. and caring about someone else other than ourselves. Caring about someone else other than ourselves. What happened to that? I don't know. I don't know. It's hard for me to know that someone is hurting and I just live my life like, I'm sorry you're hurting. I wish I could help. How have we fallen to that? How have we fallen to that we know people are hurting and we do nothing? How have we fallen to that we can see someone begging for food and walk right by them? How have we come to that's really give a damn that people need food stamps? That does something, that really triggers some sort of inward anger. How dare they need food stamps? How dare they need Medicaid? How dare they? Let them get a job. What's happened to us? What's happened? What's happened to this country that nobody gives a damn about anybody anymore other than ourselves until it comes to our door, and then we start screaming everybody to help. Can't you see what they're doing to me? And no one comes to your aid, not because they don't hear you screaming, but they're wondering, where were you when they were screaming? I don't understand. I don't understand. Something's happening here. There is a wave moving across our country that's buying us out one by one and separating us family by family. And they're putting us in boxes of race and class and finances and wealth. And we're all at the bottom together as only human. That's what I'm trying to get you to see. You've been lied to. I don't know if you read this big, beautiful bill for yourself. I don't know if you did it for yourself, but I did. And I'm telling you from what I've read with my own two eyes and understanding that God's given me, this is not a good bill. People are going to die. I'm telling you this, and I want people to understand that so that the accountability morally is on all of us as Americans. Because we allowed this to happen. People are going to die. Republicans are going to die. Democrats are going to die. Members of the Freedom Caucus are going to die because their constituents are not going to be able to feed their families or get decent health care. That's a fact. And I don't know if Mike Johnson cares about that. I don't know. I don't understand what's happened. I do understand. But it shocks me. It really shocks me to see it. It really just, like, you shake your head and you say, what is going on here? People are gonna die. I don't know how we could have forgotten what we went through with COVID-19. Our neighbors were dropping off like flies. People we knew dying. Nursing homes, old people dying. Relationships being fractured and broken apart by people dying. And even then, there was an issue with Medicaid in the nursing homes and people. What's happened to us, people? What happened to our base? What has happened to us? Is there a solution? I don't think so. I don't think you can do anything about this big, beautiful bill now. It's passed. They're celebrating it. Tomorrow they're going to have a big 4th of July party about it. People are dying in Ukraine. We stopped shipping weapons to Ukraine. People are dying over there. 20,000 kids were taken from Ukraine to Russia to be reindoctrinated. There used to be a time that America would care about something like that. There used to be a time when America would care about something like that. There used to be a time when America would say that's wrong. But now we say, no, we have to worry about America. Yes, we do. We better worry about America. And I have to say this. Where are all the pulpits? The silent pulpits, the silent churches, the pastors who say nothing about any of this. Shame on you. But you influence so many of your flock to vote, but you won't even let them know what's coming. There's a storm coming to your sheep, and it's your responsibility to prepare them for that. So what are you going to do, pastor, when your congregant can't afford food? Are you going to give it to them? Are you, the church, going to give them that benevolence? Are you going to say, here, we will supply your needs? When that family come to you, pastor, and say, you know what? We can't afford insulin anymore. Are you and the ministry going to say, we will help as many people as we can? We will shoulder this burden for our communities. Nah, you're not going to do that. That's too much like doing a godly thing. You're not going to do that. I say it's dystopian. I'm going to leave you with this. There's a verse that I found in the Bible. When I say it's dystopian, it's dystopian. And when I also say that I think that people need to be watching what's happening in our world, I think you should be, because there's something going on. God is doing something. Something is happening. And I'll tell you again, as much as I know about biblical prophecy, what you may call dystopian, I call biblical prophecy. And I'll tell you something. And you can ask anyone, where is America in biblical prophecy? It's a good question. But let me tell you what I found this verse. This is a verse about the 7 seals of judgment that's coming to the earth. And I'm going to not go into every one, but I'm going to go into this one. Okay. Verse 5, chapter 6. And when he opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, come and see. And I beheld, and lo, a black horse. And he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. And I heard a voice in the midst of the 4 beasts say, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny. And see that you do not hurt the oil in wine. Now, let me tell you what that verse means. That verse means that one day in this dystopian country, there's going to be a famine. It's going to be a famine. You're going to have to work a day's wages just for a loaf of bread. That seems crazy to you, right? It seems crazy with your Social Security, right? And it seems crazy with your 401k. And it seems crazy that somehow you say to yourself, I got money and I've got gold and I've got this and I've got that, and that'll never happen to me. But I tell you the truth, if this word is true, and all of those Republicans today that were talking about God and this big, beautiful bill, I'm saying I would like Mike Johnson to explain Revelation chapter 6, verse 6 to me. Mr. Johnson, can I call you that? Can you explain that to me, Mike? Because let me explain it to you. There's going to become a time when because of death, because of war, there's going to be a famine in this country, across the world. And people are going to have to work a day's wages for a loaf of bread. But here's how crazy it gets. The beast says to the black horse, see that you do not hurt the oil and the wine. Prophetically, that says that even as the poor people are working a full day for just a loaf of bread, that the rich people will still be able to have their oil and their wine. In other words, the poor people will continue to get poor and die because of disease and famine and death and war. But the oil and the wine for Jeff and Mark and Donald And Jared, all of these people will still have their oil and their wine. They will still have their wine cellars, and they will still have the expensive delicacies that they're used to eating. But you and I are going to work a day for a loaf of bread to feed your family. That's how dystopian this is. That's the storm that's coming. And you say, well, I don't know when this is happening. Look at the times. Food stamps, healthcare, USAID, people in the Sudan starving. The writing's on the wall. The wave is coming. I don't know when it's going to happen, but it's going to happen. We have to wake up. Ladies and gentlemen, you have to wake up. I don't know what there is to do anymore. I don't know if there is anything any of us can do to stop this wave from coming. I don't know if there's anything that we can do to stop this anymore. I don't know the answers. I don't have all the answers, but I can tell you one thing. I'm not going to stop caring about people. I'm not going to stop caring about helping people if I can. I'm not going to stop. I'm going to look out for my own, but I'm going to look out for your own if I can. That's who we are. That's what it means to be an American. That's what it means to be just human. I'm still going to care about my neighbor. I'm still going to care about my fellow man. I'm still going to help someone up if I see them fall down, because that's who we are, just human. I don't know what you're going to do. I don't know. But I would start by looking at that big, beautiful bill and seeing what your representative signed you up to, what they've committed you to. And I know you may say again, it's not coming from me. We all have a grandmother. Maybe some of you can't afford to give them the best of care. Some of us can't. Some of us are going to need that Medicaid. There's some poor kids in the inner city, white and black kids, that are going to need those food stamps. I don't know what else to say. All I can say is, like Obi said, there's a great disturbance in the force. There's a storm coming. God bless us all. God bless us all.